Hey, it's been a while since the last devlog, and I bet some of you are wondering what's going on with Demonlocke, so I wanted to make this devlog and let you all know. I'm going to be trying weekly devlogs. Today is Tuesday, and the first thing I need to do is get into the Trello and plan out my week. Since it's been a while for me, I actually haven't worked on the project in a little bit. I need to get back on track. I did some updates to my 1-bit Godot course. So it's time to get back on track and make a plan. So that's what I'm doing now. I'll get into the Trello and update that plan. Okay, I just finished up getting the calendar to a decent point here. I want to get to work, so I don't want to spend the whole time planning. You can see it's already kind of late in the day. I'm gonna go get lunch here soon with my family, but I've got the next 3 weeks planned out. As it gets farther out, I'm a lot more vague, less detailed, and as it's closer, I'm more specific. My main goal here is to have a complete battle system in the next 2 weeks. So one of the things that I haven't really talked about yet, but I will be talking about more, is that the battle system is going to change, and we're considering the alpha that we sent out to people to be a prototype, so I'm kind of rebuilding the game from the ground up to implement the new battle system. I'll be able to use a lot of code from the previous version and such, but yeah, I'm rebuilding it from the ground up. I want to have that battle system complete here in the next 2 weeks. That's kind of the plan. So I'm gonna go have some lunch and then get started on the tasks that I assigned myself for this day, which are creating the data type for the unit, the demon, and the summoner. I'll probably be able to get more than that done, but I'm gonna start there. I also want to stream sometime today, so I'll do that too. Well, I finished the tasks on my to-do list. In the previous version of Demonlocke, I had 3 main data types. We had monsters, trainers, and actions. Trainers had different monsters in their party, which was just an array, and then those monsters had actions. So for this, I've decided to split things up even more, and I've set up a summoner, or I've set up a unit which has summoners and demons both inherit from the unit, and that's because units are used in battle and the summoner is going to play a part in battle now. And that's one of the biggest changes that we've decided to make based on some of the feedback and based on the alpha, and part of the reason we're refactoring and kind of building from the ground up again. So we have the unit, and then summoners and the demons inherit from the unit. I also decided to make a party. Previously, the party was just an array inside of unit, or inside of trainers, but the summoner, I'm going to move some of this logic here inside of the summoner into the party, and so then the summoner will have a party, and then that kind of logic will be in there. I'm trying to divide the tasks out more. I've also added an inventory that will hold items, and will be a collection of items. And I added actions. So I did a little more than I was planning, but it seems like it makes sense. I've got the basics in. I'm gonna try and set up the 3D scene for the battle now. I haven't streamed yet, so that's probably what I'm gonna be doing on stream. But these 5 tasks here are now done. So I'll move them over into done list and get on the next stuff, will be our basic 3D battle scene, and I'll be streaming that. So the stream went really well and I got the 3D battle scene up. Let's actually switch over and take a look at that. Okay, here we are. This is my battle scene set up, the 3D battle scene. You can see there's some depth things going on that kind of look a little bit weird, but when we run the game, they actually work pretty well. I've just got the demon set up on using a sprite 3D here. Everything's basically a sprite 3D except for this big block that I put as the floor. And then I've got the camera. The camera is set up on, there's a root and then a camera arm and then a camera. That allows me to control the camera a little bit better. Actually run the game and see that here. So we can see our scene. I can move to the left and to the right using the controls and zoom in and zoom out. And this is kind of an idea of what it will look like in battle. It might zoom in onto a demon and then zoom back out again, come over onto this demon, zoom back out again. So I'm pretty happy with how this all worked out. I ran into a few issues on stream, but figured them out. And so, yeah, this is it. I'm excited to actually try and get the turn system and get this data working so that it's actually showing the right units and stuff. And that's kind of the next step that I'll be going for. That's going to be it for me today, though. I'm not going to work on the project anymore. I'm just going to probably edit this video. It's already 5 o'clock, so I'm going to go get some dinner, and I will see you all tomorrow. It's Wednesday now. This morning, I finished editing the video from yesterday for the devlog, and then after that, we went to the lake with my family. It was a bit busy though, so we decided to come back a little early because of the crowds. Now I'm going to start working. Let's take a look at the Trello. Okay, so this morning I finished editing the devlog section for Tuesday, and I'll need to implement HD font. That's going to be what I'm going to start working on now. If I get to it and have a little extra time, we'll start working on the simple battle system as well. I got the font in and I started with a button list. The reason I decided to start here is because the demons are going to be needing a list of actions they can use. So having a list of actions that they can pick from is kind of the first area that I want to go. You can see if I add some buttons to this and give them some text, so action here, then we can easily get a lot of different actions for the demons to use and to choose from during battle. This is obviously a work in progress. I'm going to be changing this a lot more, but the text looks nice. I'm excited to implement this into the battles. So let's come to our Trello here and check off implement HD font. We kind of did a basic theme here too. Add a basic theme. We're going to give that a due date for today or tomorrow or whenever, get that done. And we'll start working on the simple battle system now. Okay, we know that simple working battle system, there's a lot more involved in this than it's not something I can just do in an afternoon. So I needed to pick something that I could start working on. And what I chose initially is to work on setting up the scene with the battle units and the data for each unit, and storing that inside of a battle data for each unit. Like that, okay? How does that look in my project? That looks like this. We have battle unit right here, and this battle unit has a sprite attached to it, and that is inside of our battle scene here. Now, when this battle scene runs, we want it to update all the battle units, and it's going to call all of these functions to update each of them. Each battle unit will have a summoner over here, a demon, another demon, and then the enemy summoner right here. So we're gonna go through all of those and update them. In order to get that data and update them accordingly, so update their sprite and all the information about them so that it represents the current battle, we need to get that data from somewhere, and I've made a battle resource here, battle.tres, that stores that data. So essentially what I'm going to do is inside of my battle manager, I'll update each different battle unit according to this data that is stored in here. And I can export this data down here and set it to whatever I want while I'm testing and experimenting with stuff and make sure that that updates properly. So that's going to be the goal. That's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so the task was to get the battle units set up and the data for each unit set up and the battle data. And I got all three of those done, so we're gonna, well, this isn't done yet. We're gonna have to add more stuff to this tomorrow to get the simple battle system working. But if we come into the scene here, well, we've got each of the demons here, and well, these two are gonna be summoners. And then when I run the game here, you can see that it properly updates them to reflect the data that I store inside of our battle.tres. So here we've got help up set up to the player summoner and help up set up to the enemy summoner, and then both of the demons are Sindowls. I could make all of them Sindowl here by dragging this here, and now when I run the game, it properly updates that and shows that. So the important thing here with this is if I set up this system to use this data directly, if I were to ever update any of these, all I would need to do is call the update function on that specific one, update the data, and it would immediately update them in here. And I might actually tie it there to where these are tied with a signal, and then the signal just automatically updates them. So if I change, I might not do that though, because sometimes you want to control how it updates it. We'll see how that goes. For now, this is what I wanted to get done, and I'm pretty happy that I got this working. This is the first step, basically connecting the data for these different demons to the visuals for the demons inside of here. That's the first step to getting the battle system working. The next step is to be able to select an action from a demon and target another demon. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing here soon. But that's going to be it for today. I'm going to edit this section for the devlog for Wednesday, and I will see you all tomorrow. It's Thursday morning, and the first thing I'm going to do is get on the Trello and add some new tasks for the day and plan out what I'm going to get done. I've got a basic plan set up now. The first thing I want to do is add basic actions to the game. I've already got this started, but I'm going to have to rework the targeting system a bit, make sure that they're in. Next thing I want to do is implement the turn system. I'll add a new turn manager that will be a child of the battle manager. Trying to divide tasks again, make sure that the battle manager isn't doing everything, because that's what it was in the prototype. The battle manager just kind of did everything. It was a big, huge, ugly script. So we're working on that. It's going to work similar to Fire Emblem, where you can select any unit and use actions for that unit. Then once it's been used, you can choose a different one. So you get to choose the order the actions are performed in on your turn. Once you no longer have usable units, your turn will end, the enemy will go. And then I want to, after I've implemented the turn system, I added some more tasks to the working battle system, like allowing the player to select a unit, allowing the player to target a unit, allowing the player to use an action, allowing the player to select an action on their turn, give the units an active state so they'll be active or deactivated on their turn, allow them to use multiple actions. That's a question mark. Don't know if I want to do that yet. But this is plenty of stuff for me to get working on. I probably won't get all of this stuff done today. So let's start with implementing the basic actions and then maybe implementing the turn system. I think I'll start with both of those. I think I'm pretty close to getting finished the stuff that we talked about. I have a turn manager here that I added, and it just runs a player turn, ends the player turn, runs the enemy turn, and then ends the enemy turn, and it continues in an infinite loop. I also figured out how to fix the depth issues that I was having, and I started adding a little selector icon. This is definitely placeholder stuff, but I want to start working on the unit selector next. Let's bring over the Trello. So adding basic actions, I did that as well. If we come into, so here you can see I have a basic scrape action that I can now assign to the demons. So we got that done as well. So add basic actions, completed, implement the turn system. I've got the basics in. It'll probably still need work, but I have an idea of where I want to go. And now I've started allowing the player to select a unit on their turn. That's the thing that I've started doing. I'm going to continue working on that. I'm going to allow the player, actually we want to allow the player to select a unit on their turn, allow the player to select an action on their turn. Those are the two things that I'm going to work on now. Okay, selecting units is in. I'm actually really quite happy with how this turned out. I'm going to show you here real quick. So we can use the arrow keys to select the different units, and then I also made it so that if you actually click on a unit, the camera will zoom towards that unit, and then I can press the escape key currently to zoom back out to kind of the neutral position. And the UI will loop, so if I'm on the edge here and I press over, it will loop to the other side. So this is working really quite well. I'm excited for this. I also updated the foreground grass so it has some anti-aliasing on it. And yeah, I think this is really cool. It's about lunchtime now, so I'm gonna go get some lunch and then reevaluate my plan for this afternoon, kind of figure out what I want to do. Okay, we're back from lunch. I'm going to check off this right here, allow the player to select a unit on their turn. Gonna have to do more with that, with selecting the units, because of how selecting a target will work, but I don't have to worry about that now. I'm going to create a new demon battle status UI. I need to get that done. I forgot that I had that on my calendar today. I had that set up on the calendar. And I do want to try and get that done. So that's what I'm going to work on next. After that, I'll probably be done for the day. If I manage to get that done today, actually, it might take a while. I'll edit the video and call it good. The basic stats demon UI finished, or I guess to a point where I can use it, make some iterations on it. So let's check that off here. Drag it over and I'll show you what that looks like in the game. I made a demon stats UI here. I just used labels because I didn't want to make the health bar and stuff yet. I attached it to the battle unit. And then I use some code that basically figures out where the battle unit is inside of the 3D space relative to the UI, and then positions it in the UI accordingly. And so what that looks like in game, let me run here and show you. You can see if I select a unit over here, select this one, the UI will position itself to try and match the position of the demon on the screen. And also it actually updates to properly represent that demon. So you can see it's level 1, it's a Sindowl, has 55 health. That is accurate data according to what this demon here is. We've got some overlapping, and I don't really like the font, and I've got a lot of work to do here, but I do have it working in 3D space, and it is properly representing the demon. That's going to be it for the day. I think it was a good day. I'm really happy with the progress that I made. It's looking good, and I'm excited. It's almost noon Friday now. I spent some of the morning doing support for my 1-Bit Godot course and some of my Game Maker courses. I'm going to jump over to the Trello now, figure out what I'm going to try and get done for the rest of the day. I still have to do the devlog. I have to upload that today, do a thumbnail for it and stuff like that. So I'll probably get a little bit less work done today, but we'll see what I can get done, and I'll try and get as much done as I can. So let's hop over to the Trello. Okay, here we are on the Trello, and for today, I wanted to try and finish the simple working battle system. There's still a significant amount of stuff left to do here, so I don't think this is going to get finished today. So allow the player to target a unit. We actually sort of have that now, because the selecting and the targeting should be the same, but we can't use an action, and we can't allow the player to select an action. So let's actually try and move up use an action, see if we can get that down. We'll just have it use the first action that the demon has, and if we can get to that point, that would be a pretty good start. So that's what we'll start with here, and I think that's going to be it. We'll try and get that done. We'll see how much else we can get done after that. Well, let's see what I got done over the last few hours. So the first thing I realized when I went in to try and implement a demon using an action on another demon is that I couldn't, because of the way that I'd set up my unit selector. So the unit selector only selected the battle units here in the scene. It couldn't actually get access to the data for those units. So I had to think about a solution for that, and the solution that I came up was this. So I have a battle resource, and that battle resource would have an array of units. And inside that array, we would have the player summoner, the player demon, the enemy summoner, and the enemy demon. And I would use an enum to kind of represent each one. And so this data would represent the actual demons and summoners that are in the battle. And when these change, so would the visuals for this data inside of the battle, and I would use signals for that. You can see I got some signals here. I ended up deciding not to go with this stuff right here. Didn't actually need it, at least for now. I might bring it back in. So this works, and let me show you kind of what that looks like. I was able to implement a system where if I just pressed a key on my keyboard, it would swap out the player demon right here for a different one. And you can see I swapped out the data and it immediately updated properly for the demon here in the scene. So once I refactored my unit selector and got it working with that new system, then I was able to actually implement some sort of attacking, using an action. Now it doesn't look the greatest either. This is just, I got something working and I'll continue to iterate on it. You can see if I select a demon here, so I select the first demon, then I select another demon like this one over here, it deals damage to it. You can see it took damage here, and then I can zoom back out again. And if I switch, I should be able to deal significantly more damage because this demon right here is way strong. So I'll select this one and then select the end demon here, and we broke the game here. So and I see that's because that demon actually doesn't have an action to use. So we'd have to come into it here and give it an action that it could use, because I'm just making it use the first action in the list because there's not actually a way to select an action. So let's give it an action and try that again. We can select this one and select here, and you can see it dealt enough damage to one shot this demon right here. So I made some progress and we can actually attack, and the turn system isn't implemented with the attacking or anything like that, and they don't show any animations. That's probably the next thing I'd like to do, is set up an animation so you can see them actually using the animation and attacking. That's next on my list, but I made some progress and I'm happy with it. So now it's already pretty late in the day, so if I do anything else, it'll be some pixel artwork. Maybe working on the player summoner, because I started working on that but I haven't finished it, so might do that next. And then I'll edit this last part of the devlog and upload that to YouTube. So I added the player summoner to the game from the ones that I had. I drew kind of a sheet with some different ones here, just experimenting with some different ideas. This is still a work in progress. I think I want to do more. I want it to be a little bit ambiguous what the player looks like, because I want the actual player of the game to kind of project onto this character. And so I don't want them to be, I kind of want them to be generic a little bit. So that's what I'm going for with this. And I just added a little bit of anti-aliasing, gave it the proper amount of frames for the animation, and then stuck it in the game. And this is actually using the player data now. And you can see the little selector doesn't work properly. I also added a slight hover animation to it. I'm going to be animating the actual player too, but I don't want to put a bunch of time into animating the player until I feel like I'm happy with the design, and I'm not quite happy with it yet. So if you guys have any ideas on some ideas for how this could look, let me know in the comments. And I think let's switch over to the face cam now, because honestly, I'm pretty happy with the work that I've made over this week. And once I can get the battles actually working, the turn system and stuff in, then I can actually test some battles, throw in some demons, test a battle, test some actions, because a lot of the action code and all of that code is already written. So I've just copied it over into here. So once I kind of connect all the dots, a lot of this should be functional, and I'm excited to get to that point. So let's switch over to the face cam here. I just wanted to say thanks for watching this devlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and give it a like and subscribe to the channel to follow. If you want to support this project, Demonlocke, there will be a few links in the description. The first thing you can do is sign up for the email list, and that will notify you of the next alpha. I haven't actually planned when that alpha is. I've still got a little ways to go. I'm at a point where it's hard to see, like hard to project how long it's going to take. But once I get an alpha date, I'll let you all know. And once you're signed up for that list, then you can test the game in the alpha. That's a free alpha that we send out. The other way you can support is through my Patreon. There'll be a link in the description to that. Or you can sign up for any of my courses that help support me as well and makes it so I can continue making devlogs and tutorial videos like this. Thank you all so much for the support. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you all later.